Friday, everyone. I'm Ann Burchard. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and today, oh boy, I love this card that we're going to make today. I am going to be using the Seashells 3D embossing folder, Pirates and Mermaid, the Mermaid and You Are So Amazing, Sea Life, the Coral and the Fish, and the Layering Diorama dies. So let's go ahead and make this cute card. Now, caution, make sure that the thickness of your card isn't too thick that you don't need extra postage. If you use a lot of dimensionals, you may have to add a little bit more postage than the regular first class stamp. So let's go ahead and make a card. And a matching envelope. I'm going to start off with Pacific Point. I cut it at 5.5. You can score it at 4 1/4 or just fold it in half and use your bone folder to get a nice crease every time. And I'm going to be using the layering diorama to build this card. And the first one I want is the small one. Now, if you look, they do nest. And you want to make sure that it's going the right way. And that looks good to me. So my clue is the tape is going to go to the right-hand side. So I'll remove these two larger ones. And I will use this for the next layers. I'm not going to put this in the center. Instead, I'm going to put it off towards the right, a little off center, so that my mermaid, she can sit right here. And that looks about right. So go ahead and place that down. Let me bring in my cut and emboss machine. And with the cut and emboss machine, it tells you how to make your sandwiches. So for this, you need the platform number 2, platform number 3, your project, and then another platform number 3, your cutting plate. Send it through, and kerchunk. We're gonna do all our die cutting now. Get it out of the way. I'm going to save this centerpiece for another card. Oh no! Okay, well that happened. That's not what I wanted to do. So there's a blooper. Let's just set this aside. That'll be another card. All right, let's start over. Rip that off. Grab Pacific Point. Cut it at 5.5. I'm using my paper trimmer on my lap. Cut it at 5.5. Fold it in half or score it at 4 1/4. See, life happens. Line it up. I'm out of space here. And I'll give it a good press. Okay, now before you send this through, let's line this up again, kind of off to the right. I'm going to open it up. Yes, that's what I want, because I only wanted to cut the top layer. I'm using washi tape to hold it down, and I normally put it on my shirt sleeve or pants to pick up lint and take off some of the sticky so it doesn't ruin my project. But since it took up some of the cardstock from the last time I tried, it's good to go. So I can set that aside. That's what I want. I just want the front cut, not the entire. I'm going to bring in the second layer, which is, oops, which one do I have? I have Pool Party is next. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to slide this in here, grab my second die, this one, And I need some more washi tape or purple tape. And again, put on your skin, put on your clothes, rip off some hair, just so it's not as sticky. I'm going to go ahead and put that right like this. I'm going to kind of line it up where I want it. Really, I have my act together today. That's where I'd like it. And I'm just going to slide out the Pacific point, set this down, put the tape, and then run it through. Send that through. There we go. Same thing. Save the middle piece for a future project. Set that aside. And then bring back the Pacific point, the card base. Same process, but this time with the balmy blue. And the largest of the dioramas that I'm going to be using. And again, kind of line it up. Grab the Pacific point and slide it out. There's probably an easier way to do it, but I found that worked out pretty well. Move this up just a bit. There we go. Send this through. If you haven't already done so, send a text to ANNBIRCHARD, all caps, all one word, to the number 22828 to sign up for my newsletter. If you sign up, I will send you a brand new ink pad of an ink color of your choice. I send you tips, tricks, and techniques, and any sales that Stampin' Up! May have. I have put Calypso Coral on my Cut Emboss. I am using the coral die from the Sea Life die set, and also the two little fish, if I can get it off, two little fish die set. Set that on, and I'm going to send that through twice. Okay, and save all my pieces. And send it back. Get my arm work out. Okay, I can set these aside. And punch these out. Start my little collection here. It's coming. There you go. There's one. Go in for the second one. Now with these intricate dies, I recommend going forward and backward, and I failed to do that. And that just makes sure that you get a good impression or a good die cut. This is like watching paint dry, or me cutting out stuff. Come on. That one does not want to go. So what I'm going to do, let me scoop these off, place them right here. I am going to run it through again. So it looks like one of the pieces did not cut all the way through. Nope. Let me just grab another piece. Make life a little bit simpler for me. Okay, that is Calypso Coral. Whoa. All right, do it again. Send it through, and send it through again, and one more time. Now we got it. Much simpler. Perfect. Okay, not done with the cut and emboss machine. Next, I'm going to take the largest layer, which is out of the Balmy Blue, and I'm going to emboss it with the Seashells 3D embossing folder. Now, it's not big enough to do the whole thing at once, so I will cut it through, or emboss it through, move the folder, and emboss it again. You can see I'm moving those shims. And now with the 3D embossing folder, you just need the base plate and the pad 4. And again, it's written on the base platform, so you don't have to memorize any of this. Take it out and realign it. So I get another seashell over here. I can even put a little bit diagonal. Set it on my base number 4, send it through. There we go. Now, when you are cutting using the die cuts in an embossing folder, cut first, emboss second. If you emboss first and then cut, when you're running it through for the cut portion, everything that you embossed will now go back to flat. So cut first, then do your embossing. I think that's it for this machine. Let's set it aside. And I'll show you all my pieces here. All right, let's start building. This is basic white. I cut it at 4 by 5 1/4. Use some Stampin' Seal. And I will place it on the inside with an even border all the way around. And if I got the top and sides, then I know the bottom is good to go. Bring in my Stamparatus. And I'm going to put the magnet right here for now, temporarily. And then take the stamp, You Are Mermaids, and I'm going to line it up exactly where I want it. That looks good. I can lift this up, pick up my stamp and make sure it's straight. There's a grid on the plates, so I can make sure it's lined up. I'm going to be using Pacific Point ink. Mine is really juicy, so I just want to barely tap it. Give it a nice press. Done. Close this up because my finger will go in it. Clean up with my chamois. And I'm done with this, so I can set this aside. I have the little starfish from Pirates and Mermaid, and I'm going to use Calypso Coral. Decorate the inside. One up here, and then a couple down here. Remember, odd numbers, more pleasing to the eye. Again, set this aside, close this up. All right, I have already stamped the mermaid, and I used Memento Tuxedo Black because this is alcohol. It's good for the Stampin' Blends, which is an alcohol marker. I'm going to bring in just a scratch piece of paper so you can see a little bit better. And I'm going to color her. Let's start off with, I'm going to have her skin tone match mine. So I'm going to be using the Petal Pink. Here's the light. And I always start off with the light and fill in the entire base. And then I'll come back and do the detailing with the dark. So I'm getting her arms, her belly, and of course her face. Then in with the dark, and I'm using the nib, the kind of like the pen nib. She'll have a shadow by her hairline, under her chin, above and below her bikini, the inside of her arms, and down here, above her waist. And then I'm going to come back in with the light and just blend that all in. There we go. That color's done. Then I'm going to use Calypso Coral for her flower. Again, going in with the light. Grab the dark, and again the nib, and I'm going to create a little detail. And all I'm doing is a little V where the petals would connect. And then back over with the light, again to smooth it all out. I don't have as harsh of lines. Done with those. And then for the flower, I used dark mint macaron. It's such a small surface area that trying to add shadows, not needed. We just want the hint. Okay, done with that one. Now I want to do her hair, and I'm going to be using the light and dark soft sea foam, which makes sense since she's a mermaid. In my mind, it makes sense. And the light all over. Squeaks. Come back with the dark, and I'm just going to trace underneath the flower because there'd be a shadow there, and the lines that the artist has already drawn for me. You can always add your own. There's no coloring police for this. And then back again with the light to smooth it all in. Okay, let's do her tail. And I'm going to start off with the light and dark Highland Heather. So like I said, I start with the light. I'm going to go about halfway down her tail because I'm going to blend that with another color. And a couple of purple in there. Come back with the dark Highland Heather under the scales. Again, that's where you're going to have the shadows. And then I'm going to come in with Bermuda Bay. First the light, and I'm going to overlap the Highland Heather and then finish it out. Throw some Bermuda Bay in her tail. Come back with the dark Bermuda Bay underneath the scales to get that shadow, a little bit more depth. And then back with the light. Then I'm going to come back in with the Highland Heather light, smooth it over a little bit, and then come in any place I had white still showing. There we go. Now, here's a couple of tricks. If you can see, under her arm and between her tail, it's white space. There is no way I'm cutting that out. So I grabbed the Stampin' Right Balmy Blue marker, which matches this top layer, and I'm just going to color it in. And nobody but you are going to be the wiser. Do not use the Stampin' Right or the Stampin' Blends, because that will bleed into your mermaid, and you don't want that to happen. You want it to stand alone. I'm also going to take the black Stampin' Right marker and go along the edges. And what this does is hide all my terrible fussy cutting, all the whites, so it looks like a professional job. Once again, don't use the blends because it'll bleed into. Just use the Stampin' Right marker for this trick. And it's real simple. To cover up any mistakes if you have a little bit too much white. Done. Okay. Make room on this desk here. Let's start to build. I have fish galore. I have layers. I need my, what's that called? Coral. I need my coral. Okay, I'm going to start with, where's my prototype? I want to put this coral down first. I'm using glue because that gives me time to manipulate. So just a little at the base, because this is going to be hanging over this open spot, and I don't want it glued down. It's not going to go anywhere. I'm not concerned about it hanging off. When I come back at the very end, I can trim it up. And now I can add the second layer, which was the pool party. Add my glue. And I'm not concerned about the edges because it too will be hidden. There we go. I'm going to add a fish to the top right here. Oops, got my finger stuck. There you go. And then add this coral, again just at the base. Have it come in like this. And I could tack this guy down a little bit. All right, let's add some of the fish down below. I like this die because it has the fish going in both directions. Gives you a bit of more freedom for your projects. You're not stuck having everything face one way. Little glue. And I'm using the monoliquid glue, which is great because not only can you use it for a permanent adhesive, but also temporary. So you could add it to your project, let it dry a little bit. I wait about a minute. Then again, put it on my skin or a rag, and then it's temporary and it's great for masks. I love that about that. All right, and now this guy, this is our top one in Balmy Blue. I'm going to add Stampin Dimensionals. You can see I'm at the end of mine. I go around and I make cuts so I can use every little bit. You pay for it, you might as well use it. you want to make sure you have enough dimensionals that it doesn't get crushed in the mail. Oops, I don't think that's gonna fit. Let's see. Nope. I can rip it. There we go. Looks like I need a couple more. Let me grab some more here. I think I'm good. As I continue to add, because it's addicting. Oh, one more. Right there. Okay, stop. And then just take these off. My daughter loves this stamp set. She's already planning out the card she's going to make for her friend. She's very creative. Come on, almost there. It's the problem with putting on a lot of dimensionals. You gotta take all the release papers off. But it's worth it. Last one. All right. Get that out of the way. Bring this in and make sure the top is on the top. And yes, my head's coming in. I want to make sure I line this up. And don't press it down until you're sure. There we go. All right, I'm going to add 2 dimensionals to the back of our mermaid's head because she is going to be hanging over the edge of one of these layers, and so I want it to be nice and even. And then the rest of her I'll add some glue. Let's place her right here. Lovely. Oh, we are so not done. We need some wink of Stella. She's a mermaid. I get her flower in her hair. And of course her tail. Turned out great. I'm going to use a medium white envelope, my mermaid, and I think I'm going to use Pacific Point this time for the envelope. That's okay. I got a marker. I'll fix it later. Should have pressed it just a bit more, but it's okay. Well, there you have it. This really cute mermaid card with some layers, a lot of dimension. I hope you enjoyed this crafting experience with a civil engineer. Don't forget to hit subscribe and like and share this video. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week. Bye.